All right, Chris, let's take a look at the texture stuff we're talking about for the Change-O-Matic texture. I've got it loaded up here. First off, as I mentioned before, to control when it's going to happen, you're going to go over here to Image Editor, and it's down here, HexMat Sequence. And wherever you plug in the start frame, that's where this effect is going to begin. Now, it takes a while for it to propagate across the surface, so you may have to sort of fuss with it a little bit. Also, as a very important note, the one that came with originally, came with the zip files I sent for you, doesn't have the whole sequence. I'm putting in the new one in the Dropbox folder, so make sure to replace the old one with the new one I'm sending. Alright, so let's drop into back in here. Let's go to the node editor. The texture for the surface of the vehicle is called, creatively enough, default. So we go into the node editor for default. And there's a bunch of junk in here, but the most important ones are over here in this section. This last guy, Mixer 4. This is where most of the stuff is happening here. This is taking this green default camo texture and transitioning it to whatever is plugged into the foreground channel. And it's doing it with this, and this is that animated matte, the this sequence of the little hexes. So that always stays. So pretty much whatever you want to change it into from this texture will plug in there. Like you can see here, I've got, this is this sort of snowy kind of texture here. If I unplug that from the foreground, and I built this quick little bit of nonsense up here, if I plug that color output into the foreground color of Mixer 4, it should update with this little sort of weird gritty bit of nonsense. So you can see there's that camo being pulled away to this other texture. So that's all you got to do. So whatever you want to turn this thing into from the camo, probably best case just to keep the camo as it is. And whatever you want to change into, plug it into foreground on Mixer 4, which is right here next to the main surface node. Alright, so let me unplug that temporarily. And I'm going to just plug the snow back in. And it should update over here. There it goes. Alright. So again, this could be anything. This could be, pink fluffy unicorns or something, and that's what's going to be there, be revealed by that. A couple of notes on the bumps. This crackle here, this guy can unplug from this bump node here, and this is doing all this noise down here. So you see when we unplug that, this was all the gross slushy stuff that I got from, theoretically from the road coming up. So that's where that's coming from. So if I now go and plug, well, let's see, I unplug the snow, and I'll plug this greeny thing, this gritty thing back in. You'll see that this area down here will be clean. There you go, nice and smooth down there. So that's pretty much all it is to this. Just plug into Mixer 4 into the foreground color, whatever you want to transition into. Now, if you want to do the whole sequence with it, whatever this second color is, this alternate color other than the green camo, then go to your image editor and swap out this HexMat sequence for just the last frame of that sequence. Just frame, I don't even know how many frames it was, like 300 or so. The last frame, and have it be a single frame. And then that will make it not transition. Or you could have, I suppose, you could have the start time for that sequence be like 200 frames prior to the start of the animation, putting like a negative number in the start frame. That'd probably do the same thing.